Hello, Beer Nuts, Brandi here. I wanted to let you guys know about something I do every October that I look forward to all year long. It's called Camp Dazed and Amused, formerly Camp Drunken Arrow. It's a camp for grown-ass women. It happens one weekend in October. You stay one Friday and Saturday night inside a fully air-conditioned, wonderful glamping teepee. We do crafts, we do games, we do camp competition, and best of all is it's BYOB. And you have counselors and there's megaphones and it's just a really great fucking time. So if you are a chick and you want to go and you are 21 and over, go to campdazedandAmused.com and grab one of our few spots that we have left. And dudes, if you're listening, this is like the best gift that you could give to your wife, your girlfriend, whoever, because it says like, I appreciate you and you deserve some time to get like totally crazy with a bunch of other chicks one weekend. Wait, I know that sounds bad. It's not that kind of camp. Go to Camp Dazed and Amused, check us out, and register while there are still spots. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey, Catherine.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, I'm super excited because we're here at Branchline, taping our first Drunk with Teacher episode, which is super exciting.
It's actually what I wanted to do my entire high school career was get drunk with my teachers. But
yeah, you can't do
that is
You
scandalous.
go to court for that.
Yeah, a little bit.
well,
I think.
he always picks the
their
prettier
lives would never be
girls.
the same. You would be fine, but they would go away for a little while.
There was a sexual harassment charge for my government teacher, or
they don't.
one of
They
those.
don't. You don't know the name.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Don't say his name. It's fine.
But it wasn't from me. But I was like, why didn't he pick me?
Oh.
It's like a self-esteem killer.
Yeah.
Especially in high
A
school.
little
That's
something
rough.
that happened in my high school too with a coach and like one of the students, and then he stayed and she left. I don't know where she went, but poor girl.
She was the student and he was the
She was a student,
teacher?
and
Wow.
they were like sending each other notes or something. That was before people were texting because I'm old, but
Yeah.
they had actual notes.
That was safer though. You could burn it.
She kept them though because she's a girl.
Oh, probably.
Little
In a
binder.
shoebox under the bed.
I don't think I'm that kind of teacher.
That didn't happen
Yeah,
in my
no.
school, but
That's
all the gym
Yeah.
teachers wore really short shorts. That's all that happened
Did
in our
they- oh,
school.
that-
There was no
you got a little
scandal
peek
or
of something
anything.
in there?
Yeah.
You guys
Little
can't see
chub on
right
the
now,
side.
but actually, Jason and Paul are wearing super short shorts. They're
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
like those coach
What do they
shorts.
call them?
Coach shorts. Yeah.
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 Those are
Yeah.
nice.
I mean,
Officer Dangle shorts.
yeah, but the
Sir
trick is
Dingle?
you have to wear the like tighty whities that are one size too small.
Yeah.
Just to keep everything in
It's
place.
like a sports bra for your.
You
nuts.
can't see our pants on the
Yeah.
on the Periscope either.
I'm
Oh,
just
it's another picture of Paul.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, that's at Great American Beer Festival with Garrett Oliver.
Nice.
And if you zoom in on his face, he looks really creepy, actually.
That smile.
Yeah, the smile.
It is a pretty creepy smile.
It is a little,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Sweet hat though.
Yeah.
Nice guy, creepy smile.
Awesome hat inside the building.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's worried about the lights.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll cut to the truth.
Oh, okay.
They're actually not wearing pants at all. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that because it was weird.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
I asked
it
if we
was a
could go
slow
shirtless
segue.
because it's a podcast and there's no video or anything, and you guys said no.
Yeah. It makes us
So
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if the shirts are off limits, I mean, gotta be
Pants
comfortable
anyway.
somehow.
Pants are
Yeah,
next.
yeah, for sure.
Somehow.
Yeah.
We get that advice all the time to go
Yeah,
shirtless
we've
for the
actually-
podcast.
You guys are laughing, but
Have y'all
I've
done
actually,
No, because
Oh,
we always
okay.
tell people like we love beer, we're not whores. Yeah, like that's not the point.
There's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
There's
Like
a
we're
difference.
not. We don't have a tip jar. So
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't.
It doesn't. Oh, okay. So like, if we're recording here, nobody else is here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the time to go topless because then there's
Yes.
not an audience.
Yes.
Right.
Or just
Except
stay
for
there.
Except for
the internet.
Periscope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Except for the
Internet
World Wide
show.
Oh, look,
Web.
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
likes us.
Hey!
All the hearts when he
I know,
said
it's like,
no.
ding, 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 ding.
It's like-
Yeah.
If you are not on
That's
Periscope,
magical.
listeners, you should get on Periscope and follow us
Yeah.
at She's Crafty Pod. So I'm just gonna throw this out on the table. This week was I feel like really sad.
It was Death
All these
Week,
people keep
right?
dying.
Yes, yeah.
It was like the Green Mile on Facebook every single day.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I texted my wife and I said, "Did you know that Professor Snape died this morning?"
So sad.
I didn't know
But
who that
Morgan,
was
that's
until I
really-
like dug a little deeper, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I felt
okay.
really bad because
Yeah.
I feel like he would have gotten more action if David Bowie hadn't just died.
I know.
Yeah,
he
that's
did
true.
lose a little.
Completely
Yeah,
overshadowed
yeah.
by David Bowie.
Well,
He
I
was in
put a-
Dogma too, right?
Yeah, he was in Dogma.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of stuff. He was,
was in Love
Hans
Actually,
Gruber
guys.
in Die Hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
The world's
most
best
notable.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He was in
absolutely.
Love Actually. I don't. What are you guys talking about?
It's been in everything.
Yeah.
Derek was talking about Love Actually a little earlier.
Yeah,
but-
cheated on his
You
wife in
guys
that
can
movie.
chat about that because that's over my head.
It's so creepy. We're like talking about Derek and we
I
can
know.
see him
his
through
face
this little
came over
window.
the side.
I can hear his
Yeah.
name. He's like, I can see him look up like a little puppy dog.
Yeah.
I might yell at him during this podcast if he like stops working or starts watching soccer on his phone or something.
Yeah.
I might yell at him.
If you need somebody to yell at him, I'll volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
I'll give
that
you the,
later.
I'll
She
give
likes
you
to yell at
I'll give you the
people.
words to say. It looks like he's working now though, so that's okay.
I'm really good at yelling at my kids.
Right? Oh, that's all I do. I don't think they would know anything
Anything,
different.
right? Yeah.
I save it up though. Like I try to be really nice, and then like 2 weeks go in, and then I
Yeah.
just let out like a big shut up.
My
It's
big,
bad.
the loudest part of my day is in the mornings when I'm trying to get them up for school. Ugh, I have a 14-year-old.
It's oh man.
There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
Like 17 times. And then after like the 10th time, she's like, why do you always get so upset with me? And I'm like, because I've been in here 10 times.
It's taking you
Yeah.
45
Just get
minutes.
up. And then she gets up and she goes, I think I need to flat iron my hair. And I'm like, you're going to school in your pajamas is what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have girls.
I had
and
2
that's
girls.
Coming.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
coming.
It's already
It's the
there. I have a
worst.
4.5-year-old, and she's like that already.
Ugh.
It's like, get dressed. And she's watching My
Yeah.
Little Pony.
Yes.
It's like, get dressed.
Yes.
Get dressed. It's really like a 45-minute
Yes,
deal.
or
to
we're
try and
leaving
get
the
her.
house and they're like, wait, and then they all have to go grab something.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, we're not
Yeah.
taking toys in the
Yeah,
car.
I know,
no.
I know.
You're
Yeah.
like, what do you need? You're
Yeah.
a child.
You
I
need-
provide for
My
you.
son's
Yeah.
got like an entire Lego set he's trying to take in the car. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Ours is snacks. It's got to be like Cheerios.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if one wants it, the
Yeah.
other one wants it.
Oh, if we
It's,
forget
like,
breakfast,
horrible.
they're calling CPS. They're
Yeah.
crying in the car. You
Yeah.
forgot to feed me.
We're kind of set up nice with my son because he started kindergarten this year, but he gets free breakfast at school because
Oh,
the
yeah.
school like got a grant
Nice.
to do free breakfast. But
Nice.
he knows he's driving to a place that's going to give him a free, full, balanced meal, and he
He still
still
wants
begs
something.
us for food in the morning. Can I have a brownie? No. Can I have a snack? No. Can I
Yeah.
have Cheerios? No. Like just get in the car.
Does
Yeah.
he ask for like meals in the morning? My kids will be like, "Can I have spaghetti this morning?"
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"No."
My
He
little
wants
one does
random
that.
stuff, and he gets into things sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes if I sleep in a little bit longer than I normally do, and he's out by himself for a little while, I'll come out and be like, "Hey, Robert, what's with all these Hershey's Kisses wrappers all over the floor?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't know. I didn't do that. Someone must have done that overnight."
I think it was you.
Yeah, right.
Saying, yeah.
Sleep eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
need to call you out.
Kids are terrible.
They are pretty rough.
They are.
even
Yeah.
know.
Never
They
have
are.
kids. Never.
Don't
never
have
have
it.
kids.
And if you have them, just stop life before they become teenagers.
There you go.
Yes. I tell everybody that kids are way overrated.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's really cool is being like a cool aunt or uncle. That's like
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
they always love you if you're the
Yeah.
aunt or
Yeah.
uncle.
That's true.
My
You
You
nephews
can hand
are
them
like,
back.
my nephews yell at their parents and then they say, "Uncle Paul, you're the best uncle."
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's awesome. And I
Yeah.
don't
Like,
have
my
to
kids
take-
never
Meanwhile,
say
your
that.
Your kid's like glaring at you.
Yeah.
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 My kid's like yelling at me for some reason or
Yeah.
peeing on
Yeah.
things. I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's
Everything.
boys, though. Boys urinate on everything. I don't understand why that is.
Some girls do.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately, my youngest.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, but when she was like 5, she would
Yeah.
have, this is so sad. She would have like a urinary tract infection and she would just pee all
Aw.
over the house.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very.
It's hard
Maybe
to
she
contain.
was faking it and just marking
And she just
her
didn't care.
space.
Right,
I
yeah.
think
It's all
so.
over
I
everywhere.
think
Every
so.
corner.
My son is 8. He doesn't remember to close the door ever. Ever. Like both my daughters know what a penis looks like because they've seen it
'Cause
a
he's-
million
he leaves it
times.
open, yeah.
And then he never lifts the seat.
Oh.
And then he like run pees, right? Like, he's playing a video
runs
game.
into it,
He
then runs out of it.
he's
Yeah,
running out, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
It's
he didn't
everywhere.
even go in the toilet.
I can understand that, like when I was 8, because the games, like you couldn't save a game. You
Yeah.
just like
No, but now
you had to
you
pause it.
can.
Now you can. Now the games save
It's
themselves.
just the idea that
Yeah.
it's there and it's waiting for him.
Yeah.
He
yeah,
can't,
no, that's not a big deal.
Can
at
barely
all.
can't
handle
handle
it.
it. Yeah, I cannot handle that.
I recently tried Minecraft for the first time because I'd never played it before,
Yeah.
and I had like my wife's cousins were talking about it and everything, and I tried it, and I was trying to figure out how to save it because I'm like, oh, I'll come back and I'll play this again. And I'm like, how do you save? There's no save in the menu. There's nothing. And then I realized, oh, it just does
Just
it.
does
saves
it.
it
Yeah,
on
it just
its
does
own.
it. No matter what
Yeah.
you do, it just saves it.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
is, I
wow.
think, good and bad. You know,
Yeah.
there's no strategy now. If you get killed by a monster or something,
Right.
you can't go back and reload a previous
Yeah.
save. It's always saved.
Gosh, they have it
different.
so easy now.
They do.
They have
These
kids.
kids,
are
man,
spoiled.
kids these days.
No
Kids are
entering like
spoiled.
16-digit codes to play your Mega Man character again.
Yeah.
No
None of
uphill
that.
both ways. None of that.
No, that's true. That's true.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
We evened out all the hills the last couple of years.
Are you guys big gamers or?
Not really.
No.
Not since I've had kids.
Not since you've had
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, I'm the same way. Just
I used to
no
just
time.
Yeah.
play video games here and there, but
I usually drink a lot, and then I'll buy a game,
Yeah,
and then I'll
yeah.
never play
And
it.
then never play
And I'm
it.
like, man, I'd love to
Yeah.
play that new game, and I buy it, and it takes like 4 hours to load on Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass out, and then I'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I should play that game. And then
Yeah,
I end up
never do.
playing the stupid
Yeah.
game.
It just probably means you're adulting very well.
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
That you don't have the time.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Play the game.
Yeah. I wish I
that might be
did.
true.
Yeah.
I've tried to sit down with my 5-year-old and like play games or
Yeah.
have him play with me, and he doesn't really get it yet. And so we're playing like what did I buy? He's into Star Wars and he's into Legos, and so I bought Lego Star
Oh,
Wars.
yeah.
So we could play together because you can play as 2 characters. And I'm like, Robert, just follow me. And he's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Luke. And he's like, well, I want to be Luke. And I'm like, okay. Well, we can
he's
switch
5.
around.
Yeah,
You could
right?
be-
Yeah.
You could be Luke, but just follow me. And he's like, oh, there's R2-D2. Now I want to be R2-D2. And I'm like, yeah, but he's really slow and he can't jump. I'm like, so no, don't be him. Be someone else. And he's like, no, I don't know where you are.
You sound like
I'm
a little bit of a control freak, Paul.
I kind of am.
Yeah.
Let's get real about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
we did
that's-
not get the high score on this level, Robert.
Yeah.
We need to do this.
I really try. I'm a single parent, so I really try to like sit down with my son and play video games because I know like that's what would happen if he like his dad was around. But I can't do it. I can't do it because he's too in depth with knowledge, and he
Oh, yeah.
does not stop talking. Like,
Does he get pissed at
we
you?
go levels deep, okay? And I'm like, I can't. I want to blow my brains out right now.
No, I
That's too
don't.
much.
Like I can't.
I'm very surface now when it comes to anything that comes
Yeah.
like any entertainment. I'm on the surface of
Yeah.
it. I don't really get it deep
Yeah, no,
anymore.
we're way in there. We're miles down into Minecraft. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
gets
no.
angry at me, and I'm like, I
You're
don't.
like, I
I'm
told
an
you that
adult.
30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't do this.
Yeah, no, I seriously, I learned how to dig up dirt and then put dirt blocks in places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I made a door. Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but you haven't gotten to, what was it, the nether yet. And
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even know what that
Yeah,
word is.
I have no idea.
And they're like, my wife's cousins, they're like 14 and 7. And they're like explaining to me all this stuff about Minecraft. I'm like, guys, I have no clue what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Nor will I ever know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I'm not patient enough either. My oldest daughter does it, and she'll be like, okay, I'm going to show you this castle that I built. And
Yeah.
I'm like, get into the second room. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I can't do it
No,
anymore.
I can't.
Why
I
is
can't
that
pay
pig eating that
attention.
thing and then pooping
Yeah.
something out? Like I don't
Oh,
have any
see, I didn't
understanding.
even know it did that.
And I'm like, Harry, you want to learn how to podcast?
Yeah.
We could do that together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm
Are you
cool.
gonna drink beer
I'm
again?
all right.
Yeah. So, Paul is going to. You kind of came up with a little bit of a quiz for us, and
Yeah, I think it's a good quiz.
Jason, do you know what the questions are?
I do. I helped him create it.
Yeah, but he'll have forgotten from yesterday. It's
Oh,
just
Very
wow.
likely. It's very likely.
What do you
Okay.
guys think of this new Shady Oak
So
Blonde? that you
I
guys
like
are
it.
I do
drinking?
too. I haven't
nice.
had It's Y'all's Blonde Ale.
Yeah, and these are actually brand new cans.
They're pretty.
Yeah, they're
Canned him last Friday for the
Yep.
first time.
we're launching all our stuff on February 1st. But the Shady Oak is a brand that we've done all draft only and bombers, and so now we're moving
Oh,
it into
nice.
6-pack cans.
I love it.
I like it too. I think. I mean, it's very bright and stands out on the shelf.
Yeah.
And it's brewed
The
locally.
colors,
you know?
the green is really pretty too.
I like the green. That's my favorite.
So what am I tasting in this beer?
Well, we recently reformulated the Shady Oak recipe, so I call it like new formula because it's the same base as it was before. Essentially, it's got lighter malts, a lighter crystal malt, so you get a little bit of sweetness from it, and some honey malt, so you get some honey-like character from the sweetness side, and then use a new hop called Huell Melon. Huell Melon is a new German hop, and it actually has like flavors and aromas of strawberry and honeydew melon. And so you get that
Nice.
kind of almost like German lager kind of feel, and then a bit of fruitiness on the end. and it's just real drinkable and nice
Yeah.
tasting. Like,
It's hard to tell in the can, obviously, but when you pour it into a glass, I get a lot of like raw strawberry kind of, like real
Yeah.
mild fruit kind of smell to it on the nose.
like
Really
when you're
cool.
cutting strawberries and then your hands smell like
Yeah.
real strawberries afterwards. Not like
Oh, yeah.
Not like an
an
artificial, right,
yeah,
right.
It's like a real strawberry kind of.
It's like a
smell.
yeah. There's a fruity kind of smell in there, but it's not a sweet fruity.
Right,
It's
right.
Yeah.
like the tartness of a fruit,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of.
I say
And
like
if you-
raw fruit really is what it kind of
Yeah,
smells
I
like.
think so.
Yes.
You're cutting like a raw fruit.
Yeah.
If you grab like a strawberry beer, a lot of times they have kind of that artificial strawberry taste. It reminds me of those little strawberry hard candies with like this with the strawberry syrup in the middle or whatever. That's what those kind of beers smell like. But Hillmelon gives you more of like a raw fruit character.
Right.
And we liked it a lot. We sampled it last year at a Craft Brewers Conference in Portland, and that one, and then our new Visitor IPA that's a draft release as well. That was a new hop called Azaka, which is like an American hop with a lot of like peach and pine and citrus and that kind of thing.
So do y'all get like emails about new hops? Do you get like a hop
Like a hop
newsletter,
newsletter?
hop letter?
Yeah,
Hop
I,
letter.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I have like some of the suppliers will send us information, and then we have like we're members of the Brewers Association, and I'm a member of the Master Brewers Association of America, and so they send out newsletters and information. They do webinars and things, and so that's kind of that's one way to stay in touch with new stuff as it comes out.
The best way for us that we've kind of noticed with the Craft Brewers Conference is we get to kind of smell them all. And it kind of seems like when new hops come out or experimental hops come out is at the Craft Brewers Conference.
Yeah.
And not necessarily for the conference probably, but just because all the brewers are there.
That's
so
when they can
showcase,
firsthand,
kind
yeah.
of smell
Yeah.
everything and see everything.
And we've had like samples of hops sent to us, and I've tested out like experimental hops from different suppliers, and they're to varying degrees they're good and bad, and they all work for different things. But some like the Hillmelon and the Azaka both very much stood out to me as hops that I wanted to use, and so now we're using them in 2 different year-round beers.
What kind of climate do hops, like what part of the U.S. are hops you normally grown in?
They grow generally in the 48th parallel, both north and south.
Okay.
Is that
like
Harry
latitude?
Potter? Well, I
It-
don't
yeah,
know.
You got to go through a wall to get to
Okay.
it.
Yeah, it's
Welcome
that
to
by
the
Castle
48th
Black?
parallel.
It's near that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's near that. Yeah, and they're harvested.
Lots of
by,
owls and stuff there.
Yeah, and they're harvested by dementors. They just go, they suck the hops up and then spit them back out. No, it's basically like if you remember like latitude and longitude, right? So latitude is the flat one that goes side
Yeah.
to side. So it's kind of like northern United States, and then also the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
So it's like the southern part of the world as well. And so the hop growing regions of the world kind of coincide with beer regions. So you have a lot of hops that grow in Germany, Czech Republic.
Okay.
Not so much in Belgium, but a little bit. England is a good hop growing area. And then Poland as well. And then in the United States, it's all kind of the northern part of the United States. The majority of the hops that are grown in the country are grown in the Yakima Valley in Washington. And then you have Oregon and Idaho are all big hop growing regions. But now there's a lot of smaller hop farms that are starting to pop up again as craft beer is now becoming more popular. So now you have hop farms in places like North Dakota and Wisconsin and New York and Pennsylvania, which
Wow.
is more kind of what the hop industry was like in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Smaller producers kind of across the entire country. And so we're kind of getting back into that, which is neat.
Is it like weed where anybody grows hops in their closet?
You can do
Yeah?
that, yeah. But the problem with it is that because marijuana and hops are actually cousins. They're related to each other. It's like the first thing that stoners tell you when they're drinking craft beer.
Yeah.
Right, Jason?
Yes. What me? What? I walked right into that. Oh wait.
It took him a second because he was taking a puff.
Yeah,
and
he's
then-
Yeah, right.
He's a little slow. But yeah, you find the problem with hops is that they grow really tall, like upwards of 30 feet tall in
Oh,
some places
wow.
and some varietals. So
You have to have a
you
really
have to
tall
have
house.
like
Yeah.
very tall closets or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Wow.
But they grow in essentially the same climate, lots of moisture. Not hot, lots of direct sunlight, and they grow incredibly fast to the point where you can actually, I guess, in the fastest growing time of the year, you can see it physically growing, like up the vine as you're sitting there watching
Wow.
it.
What?
So
That's
it's kind of
trippy.
neat. Like not even time lapse.
That's
Weird.
crazy.
That's very.
I can't verify that with my
Very
own
Harry
eyes.
Potter.
Yeah.
Very Harry Potter.
Very Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Were you on LSD when you saw this? I'm just gonna ask.
It's
was,
weird. Only Paul saw it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was crazy.
We were all looking at the same thing, but
He said the plant was purple.
But the pink elephant told me that it was true.
so it's got to be true.
Yeah, it was real.
And you were there, and you were there, and you, and you too.
Oh.
But yeah, I do have a 10-question quiz for you guys. If you
Yeah,
wanna,
let's
if
do
you
it.
guys want to run through that.
Are you ready?
Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous because I was saying earlier I'm kind of a know-it-all. My husband will confirm that. And I prove everything on Google.
I don't think I'm that nervous because I think sometimes like I start to learn a little something off the podcast and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to know because
Yeah.
it's not good for the show. So I'm interested to see
That's
how
cool.
dumb I am.
Well, and the nice thing is as kind of this monthly feature is we can keep revisiting these things and we can
Yes.
look at them. And what I tried to do is pick questions that were fun, and that your audience can listen to and learn from as well. Things that some people may find very basic and simple, but in general, it's kind of the fundamentals of a lot of elements of beer. Service, and then how do you drink beer with meals, and what the styles mean, and that
Awesome.
kind of thing. So we'll kind of build on
I'm
this.
excited.
I
That's
am
kinda
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Do we get ribbons or trophies as we move up?
Do we?
Oh
are
yeah,
you-
we could do that. We could do
Yeah,
that.
you
You
want to
win
do
a lifetime supply
you
of
do a
beer.
trophy?
Yeah, right.
We could do digital trophies. I could
I like
email
it.
you
I
a
like it.
picture of a
works.
trophy.
That works.
It
That's
could be
better.
like badges, like on Untapped.
There you go.
We get
Yeah,
our,
there
we
we
get
go.
our badges.
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
your son will probably like it. We'll call them like Xbox achievements or something.
There we
Like,
go.
We call them
Yes.
Branchline achievements, and then
Perfect.
there you go. And then you'll be like,
Perfect.
look at how many achievements I got.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Should we
Yeah.
keep score?
Yeah,
That-
I'm gonna keep
Okay,
score.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh yeah,
That
I'm
got
ready for
50
this.
shades really fast.
But I just regretted
Simmer
it because that
down.
means I'm probably gonna lose.
Simmer
Okay.
down.
yeah.
No, you'll definitely
Yeah, you
win
can't talk
against
as
me.
much shit.
No.
You'll be
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
So I developed a lot of these from the Certified Cicerone syllabus.
Fuck.
I am a certified Cicerone. I actually.
Okay, relax, okay?
I'm just
Simmer
saying.
down.
Did you see me like get all smug there? I
I-
don't know if you noticed, but I actually help the Cicerone program proctor the exams as well, and so if you guys are interested in obtaining that kind of certification,
Oh,
I would absolutely
Brandi,
look into that.
That could be like year 2 of the She's Crafty podcast.
I think so.
That'd be
I think
cool.
you guys would
Yeah.
do well at it. You're passionate about it. It's kind of a big step,
Yeah.
is make sure that you know what you're talking
That's
about.
awesome.
Is what we're looking at. So are you guys ready for question
I think
number
so.
1?
I am.
Hi.
So we're
Sorry.
Brandy grabbed her
Step
phone
away
so
for
she
a
can
little.
cheat.
Welcome back. Thank you.
Yeah, you grabbed your smartphone.
that
Okay,
so
do
you
we
can
are
cheat?
we
No,
writing
no, no,
down?
no, no,
can
no,
Google
no, no, no,
everything?
no, no. There we go. There we go.
Are we
Okay,
writing
all right,
down the
all right,
answers,
all
or
right.
are
I think
we
you can-
saying them
I
out
think
loud?
you guys can say them out loud.
Okay.
And I think to a degree you guys can collaborate a little
Oh,
bit. 'cause
Okay,
you're-
okay.
Okay.
Because you're kind of you're frenemies, right? Is the way I
Yes.
understand this. So should be able to help and hurt each other
Just
at the same
minus the
time.
I love you.
I hate you.
All right.
So number 1, what are the 4 ingredients used to brew beer?
Oh shit.
Water,
Water is
Hops.
1. Hops is 1. Cat's on it.
I know,
grain,
dang.
Yeah, grain. Yeah,
Yeast.
and yeast.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey!
All right.
All right.
See, and this is what the quiz is going to be like.
Okay.
It's not overwhelming.
All right.
It's not too nervous.
Okay,
So
okay.
Until
question
question
2.
2.
What is the scientific name for brewer's yeast? It's kind of the same as the first question, I think. It's not
Oh yeah,
too
just
hard.
as easy.
Scientific name for brewer's yeast.
Do you
Beer?
guys know what yeast is? What kind of organism is yeast?
This is where it all goes
Yes.
downhill, you
I
guys.
don't know.
Don't worry, we
What
got some
kind-
easier ones for you
No,
too.
they get harder and harder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeast is actually a fungus.
Okay, that makes sense.
And yeast
Yeah.
grows naturally kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
You have yeast. We won't go into where all the places that yeast grows. 'Cause
Is
it's a-
fungus the scientific name?
No.
Okay.
Fungus is the type of organism
Okay.
that it is. The actual scientific name for brewer's yeast specifically is Saccharomyces.
Oh.
So, and you may see that occasionally, as you look around, and they'll talk about like ale yeast is different from lager yeast, for example, and there's different yeast strains and all of that. But Saccharomyces is brewer's yeast.
Okay.
There's wild strains, and there's all kinds of cool stuff.
Do you
Sour
like
beers have
abbreviate
bacteria.
that, or do you just say Saccharomyces, or do you like?
We say
Sacro.
yeast. Yeah, we mostly just say yeast.
Yeah.
Just
'cause
sac.
Those are trying to sound smart.
Yeah.
Sac yeast,
The
sac
fourth
fungal.
That was the fourth friend in Harry Potter, Saccharomyces.
Saccharomyces.
that's
No, I think it's a
true.
spell.
Oh, there you go.
Saccharomyces.
Saccharomyces.
That's how Snape died, is from the
Oh,
Saccharomyces.
too soon. Too soon.
R.I.P.
Oh,
Snape.
my bad,
Too
guys.
soon. Too soon.
Too
Sorry.
late.
Too late. Too late.
So Saccharomyces, and like ale yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and lager yeast is Saccharomyces pastorinus. And so there's like different wild strains sometimes that are used, and there's different bacteria that have different names and all that. And that's a kind of a cool thing we can get into as we go.
Awesome.
Saccharomyces.
That's right.
Like multiple mice.
Myces.
Saccharomyces. Yeah.
Very cool.
You got it.
Number 3. What do the following abbreviations stand for?
Okay.
ABV.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Alcohol by volume.
Good job. SRM.
Saccharomyces.
Wait.
Okay.
I don't remember.
This is from the previous
Yeah,
podcast.
it
We
is.
just
It
talked
is.
about
I
it.
know. We
from
just
the
talked about it
Halloween
2 months
We
ago.
talked about
The
this
Sheep's
at
Crafty
Halloween.
Halloween
Yeah.
special. I don't remember.
We've got to start.
SRM.
I told you, didn't I tell you that we
Yes.
need to start reviewing
You
our
did.
beer
You
education?
did.
Do you guys need a
This is
lifeline?
where-
Because Jason's right there. He might be able to answer this one.
Can we phone
Maybe
a
the
friend?
first word.
Okay, what is the first word?
Standard.
Standard. Something measurement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Standard
You got it.
Measurement.
None of those noises are
No,
correct. No, it's standard reference.
Reference measurement.
So you guys got it.
what it was.
Yeah,
It sounded like
guys
you were
got
about
it.
to say reference.
Yeah, it did
Yeah,
actually.
it's
It
just
really
like
did.
I was like, oh.
Kat was really confident,
It was
actually.
almost, I was almost there for a second, yeah.
And
So
that
when do you
refers to
use that?
color.
Okay.
Yeah, that refers to the color of the beer. And so SRM, the lower the number, the paler the beer is. The higher the number, the darker the beer
Okay.
is.
Okay.
And so something like a Pilsner is SRM like 2 to 3. Something like a stout could be SRM like 30 to 40, somewhere like that. Cool.
Wow.
And then the
I'm
third one is
colorblind, so-
IBU.
Bitterness units.
First word.
Yeah,
International
Bitterness
Bitterness
Yeah,
Unit.
yeah, there
I
you go.
remember
All right,
that.
you got it.
Okay, yeah.
And good job. And the same thing, for IBU as it is for SRM. The higher the number, the more bitterness is in the beer. Now that doesn't mean that the beer is more bitter necessarily, because if it's a sweeter beer that has a higher IBU than a drier beer with the same IBU, the drier beer will taste more bitter than the sweeter beer. You remember we talked about that.
Yes.
Do you guys remember the threshold of how many IBUs like the human tongue can?
Ooh, was 65. No, that's like a
100?
70s, 80s?
About 100.
100?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 100. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So you
Are there a lot of, like,
I actually
standard-
listen to our podcast.
I edited, okay?
Oh, all right. Well, I'm just,
No, am I thinking of that 65 number? Because there's a lot of maybe
a lot of
beers that are
a lot of
IPAs that
IPAs are around that kind of
that
65,
number.
70
Okay.
range. And there's different ranges for different beers for both color, ABV, IBU, and SRM. And so as you review different styles, it'll tell you, certain styles are darker, so higher SRM. Certain styles are more bitter, so higher IBU, and that kind of thing.
cool.
Cool. All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
We're on question number 4.
okay.
What are the 3 tiers of the alcohol industry?
I have no idea.
Are we talking about the size of breweries and brewers?
No.
No?
No?
I guess the kind of three
like-
three houses that beer goes through to kind of get to the end result. So what would we be considered if you had to put like a name on us?
A craft brewery?
Yeah, we're a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I see.
Yeah,
so we manufacture beer.
So
Uh-huh.
manufacturing, distribution,
Which is also a
and,
wholesaler.
like retailer.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. Those are the 3 tiers, and that's
Perfect.
easy. And that's because of Prohibition that we have those 3 tiers. So
Yes.
trying to, basically part of Prohibition being repealed was that each state was allowed to make its own set of alcohol laws with these federal guidelines in place to kind of preserve the peace,
Right.
between the temperance movement and the drinkers, I guess you could put it. So yeah, we have the 3 tier of the alcohol system that, to varying degrees works and doesn't work in certain areas. And there's some gray areas now. And
Like growlers and, the
Yeah.
whole crowler
yeah, and crowler thing,
controversy. Yeah.
So are you a manufacturer? Can you package beer versus, serving draft beer? and the state will interpret laws and the federal government will interpret laws
Right.
and things that happen. So
Is there a state that's known to be just like the most lax on them blending together?
I think Portland
probably California and
yeah.
Oregon, Washington.
No, Oregon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're all like, those states are very like, I wouldn't say lax necessarily, but they're friendly to kind of smaller manufacturers. California typically has the most breweries, I think, year to year, just because it's the largest
Yeah.
of all those states. Texas is up and coming. We're getting better, and we're actually opening a lot of breweries every year. Several new breweries have opened in San Antonio over the last few months, and it's going to continue like that. And we're going to have, smaller brew pubs that are popping up here and there as well.
Yeah.
And pretty neat. It's a blurring
I
of the
think
lines
it's
too.
really interesting what's happened even over the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to Public Access, which is another podcast, and some friends of ours do from Community A Go-Go. And Larry was talking about, because he's not really a craft beer drinker. In fact, when we said we were going to start the podcast, he kind of gave us some crap about it. And he was like, Lone Star's not good enough for you guys or whatever.
Yeah.
He was talking about drinking Evil Owl
Yeah.
and the 210 Ale on the podcast the last time. And
Oh,
I was
cool.
like, look who's drinking
Yeah,
craft
right.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really cool.
Sucker.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you can see the tides are turning in our favor then maybe.
Yes. And I do think we always talk about gateway beers, and I think gateway beers are very important to
Right.
be
Yeah,
introduced,
absolutely.
to get people to think outside the box and say oh, this is just better version of what, if they liked a lager before, give them a lager that tastes better.
Right.
Yeah.
And so don't just send them to have a sour or a stout if that's not what they're used to drinking, and then kind of let their taste buds open up. And
You can also find for new drinkers like that really haven't expanded into craft beer, a lot of times it's not even necessarily that the beer is better or worse than the previous beer that they were drinking. Because somebody might pick up Shady Oak and like it just as much as another lager or blonde ale, or whatever. The difference is that, we live here in your community. We have kids in your community.
Right.
We pay taxes here
Yeah.
in this community.
Yep.
A lot of taxes.
A lot of taxes, yeah. And our business is here to kind of support the other people that are here locally.
Right.
The big, large national brewers, they may support that to some degree, but the motivation behind it is different.
Yeah.
We're doing it because this is where we live and this
Right.
is what we love.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a transition beer, but I wouldn't even say try this. It's so much better, because then you're challenging somebody to say this is better or worse than what
Right,
I'm
right.
already drinking.
Right. This is
You
the same
say,
style of beer.
you
Drink
know,
it from here, from
yeah.
your city.
Try this, Paul
Yeah.
has a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and this pays
Right.
for
Yeah,
their
right.
Yeah.
Those dollars immediately impact,
Yeah.
our families and our lives.
Yeah.
That's the way I
that.
like to look at that.
Yeah.
Very cool. So
Awesome.
good. You guys did well on
Nice.
that one. So we're halfway, or we're about halfway done.
'Kay.
So number 5, briefly describe how to properly clean a beer glass.
Oh.
Right? Right? Good one, right?
Don't
Yeah.
use detergent.
No, don't use.
Right?
Yeah, don't use.
We know that.
Don't stick in the dishwasher.
Don't put it in the
for sure.
dishwasher.
You're giving me don'ts. I'm looking for do's.
Okay, are we looking?
They're whittling it down.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, just soap and water, right?
Then a rinse, right?
Then-
Don't they rinse with
Yes,
just water?
With just water.
That's all.
You're getting very, very close. I could tell that you guys have heard this before.
We have,
Uh-huh.
And it makes sense
but we
to
got
you.
all the don'ts.
You got all the don'ts, yeah.
Yeah.
So the brief way to do it, real easy. If you have a commercial kitchen and you're washing glasses, first of all you want to make sure that glassware is being cleaned separately from your plates and knives and forks and that kind of thing. Because the grossest thing is to go to a restaurant and have beer served in a glass that has bubbles
Yeah.
sticking to the inside.
Yeah.
Because that's some sort of soap or food residue,
Yes.
It's
oil,
very
that kind of
common.
thing.
Very,
Yeah.
very,
Very common, and it's unfortunate, but as consumers start to learn more about how to clean the beer glassware and how to serve beer properly, then restaurants and bars and things they'll come around
attention,
to.
yeah.
Because they're going to hold them to it because they
That's right.
want the
'Cause I
true
want a
taste
clean
of their
glass.
beer.
Yeah, I want a clean glass.
Yeah.
I want a good service if I'm
Right.
going to pay for it. So the kind of brief way to do it, if you don't have a commercial kitchen, is in something called the 3-sink method.
Okay.
And so you're using brushes in the first sink
Okay.
to clean it with hot water and some sort of a non-oil or fat-based detergent. And then you do rinse it in water, so you guys got that one right.
Mm-hmm.
And you rinse it by pushing heel first into the water and bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
the third sink is for a sanitizer. And then the important part about cleaning a beer glass is not to dry it, See a lot of like bartenders still like old school with a bar towel, like cleaning the inside of the glass and drying the inside of the glass. You don't want to do that. You want to set it on a rack where air can circulate so that it air dries.
Nice.
And then if you're really fancy, then you can actually spritz the inside of the glass with like a sprayer, like a built-in to your bar service, and spray it with just plain cold water before you serve beer into it. And in that case, you're going to get a beer clean glass. Nice. And I explained to my wife, beer clean is different from clean. I'm not criticizing the way you wash dishes.
There we go.
But my glasses need to be beer clean. And then she says, wash your own damn.
Yeah, she's like, wash them yourself.
Have fun. Yeah, that's what I would.
Where's my fucking third sink, Paul? Yeah. Got
like,
2 here.
I got you a bucket. But yeah, make sure that you're drinking beer out of clean glasses, I would say. And if there's lipstick on it or there's gross stuff in it, don't drink the beer. Don't suck it up. Say something, you know. Nobody's going to spit in your food because of it. They all want to
make sure you have your food first just to be safe.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah,
I mean,
you never know.
You guys are very negative on the service industry.
I worked in it for a long time.
I do appreciate, like, when we go to Hoppy Monk and some other places, but specifically I can remember at the Hoppy Monk, because being there so much, that watching them rinse the glasses behind the bar. It's just a nice thing that you're visually seeing them. That glass that already looks clean, they're doing the rinse.
And if you know why, because we had a little tutorial about this one time.
From Josh with
Josh, And then we were like, oh, look at they're doing it at the Hoppy Monk. I know my glass is clean.
Yeah. It's good to see. And it's you know, if you go into a bar and you can see them like cleaning glasses and then immediately serving beer into them, then you might question that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you might make sure that beer is clean. The nice thing is it's easy to see whether or not the glass is clean, because if the beer is being served in it and you see little cleany bubbles all over the inside of the glass or anywhere inside the glass, then that beer or that glass is not beer clean. Yeah. Right. It's
no
not
head retention. There's some
it'll
telltale
kill the
signs.
Head.
Yeah.
And then another important thing about glassware is don't freeze your glassware. You know, you get frozen water or frozen sanitizer in your beer, and that kills head retention. It kills aroma. You want to make sure you're serving in a room temperature glass, and if you do want a cool glass, make sure it's cool, not frozen. Like in a fridge is fine, but in a freezer is not fine.
That's where we used to mess up, me and my husband. So we used to stick glasses in the freezer all the time.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
Yeah. I had glasses with like built-in like gel packs inside the glass, so it was insulated your beer and kept it super cold.
Yep.
But in you know, most beer styles, you don't want it that cold.
Yeah,
you want to be able to taste it. That's what I want.
We had over Halloween, it was the first time we had Pumpkinator.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of served it a lot below a temperature than we were used to, because that's right after our episode with Interbrews and where he told us that. And you could taste so much more of the beer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If like I'll serve a big beer like that, you know, like a 10% beer, I'll serve it out of the refrigerator and then drink off of it and then let it warm up in your hand or let it sit for a long time before you drink it again. And you get a lot more aroma and flavor out of it. It's much better for the beer.
Perfect.
We want what's best for the beer, you know?
We do. Of
course.
We're going to treat that beer nice.
Yes.
All right, guys. So question number 6. What are some of the physical effects of alcohol?
Babies.
All of college.
Giving your number out to the wrong person?
Yeah.
I would maybe define that as lowered inhibitions.
There you go.
Okay.
Right? Drunk dialing kind of falls under that.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of specific things that we could get into.
Spending money.
Eating.
Lots of Whataburger.
Yeah. I think I had a roommate that would get drunk. It was a long time ago. And he would love Jack in the Box at 4 o'clock in the morning because he could go spend $20 and get just so much food.
Yeah.
So much food.
And he had the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
right? Because I'm like, I have $20. What can I buy?
Might as well. Yeah. There's no tomorrow.
I don't have to save for anything.
But your Whataburger person or your Jack in the Box person might notice that you're talking a little funny, so slurring speech, right? Slurring speech, maybe like lethargy, being a little slow, right? Maybe your beer can't stay in the glass because you're laying on the floor.
Maybe you're vomiting.
Right,
Yeah.
vomiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, vomiting is the one, and not being able to stand upright and stumbling around.
Right.
And, just
Burping.
burping.
Lots of burping.
Just saying.
I think that's probably specific to your physiology because that doesn't happen to anyone else.
Oh, I
just
burp a
you.
lot.
Yeah, Paul doesn't burp.
Not me. No, not me.
Just me.
But the point is, if you're gonna have fun and drink craft beer,
Be responsible.
take an Uber home.
Right.
Have a
Of
friend
course.
that wasn't drinking drive you home. Don't get drunk and drive.
Right.
That's there. It's funny to joke about and everything, but really, it's dangerous to be on the road like that. It's much more fun to be in your own home like that with your children.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody
Right.
to
Setting
actually
a good
pour the beer.
example.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cook your own hash browns. Don't
Yeah.
drive drunk to McDonald's
Yeah,
and buy hash
exactly,
browns.
exactly.
Yeah.
TGI Fridays makes mozzarella sticks you can heat up. Those are pretty
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
Yeah.
There
There
you
really
go.
is no excuse anymore.
No,
With
plan
ride
ahead.
share
There really
services,
isn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
With-
yeah, absolutely.
with all that, there is absolutely no excuse for
Yeah.
people to drive drunk. You also go to any bar and you tell a bartender that you're too drunk to drive home, they will find you a cab.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah,
don't-
Sure.
absolutely.
No, this is a risk that nobody is willing to let somebody else take. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good direction that we've gone in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in society as a whole. But it still happens a lot in San Antonio, and it's just something we need to
Unfortunately.
keep talking about.
Yeah.
Keep getting people,
Yeah.
to make the right decisions.
I think the ride shares help a lot.
Yes.
Other than just having cabs and having to wait for them
Right.
for long periods
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
So.
Especially when what I've noticed as I started getting into craft beer, I really like those really heavy beers. So I'll
Yeah.
like, something that's around 10 or 12. I had
Yeah.
the Prairie Bomb.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like a
would-
10% chocolate chili beer. Yeah,
And it's just this little beer, and then
Yeah.
you drink it, and you feel like you've had maybe 6.
Yeah,
So
right.
you kind of have to think ahead on stuff like that if you're going to be drinking that level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Know your body. Know
Yeah.
your reaction to it. Someone served. I ordered an Evil Owl, and somebody served me a 14% Evil Twin Molotov
Oh.
cocktail.
Oh.
That's a double IPA, and it surprised me because that wasn't what I was looking for. Because I know my own physiology,
Yeah.
and that's not what I was looking for at the time. And so I took it easy. That was the end. And when I told my wife, that's the only beer I had because why else would I have another one?
Right.
Yeah.
She commented it really is like drinking a large glass of wine.
Yeah.
You have to compare the alcohol by volume makes a big difference.
That's very true.
I think a lot of that comes too with just age and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maturity.
Like, oh, I know that I'm not
Yeah.
going to throw up if I stop right now.
Right, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm not gonna be
I'm not going
hurting
to ask
tomorrow.
that stranger
or-
for a cigarette and I
Yeah.
don't smoke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just wake up the next morning, you're like,
Why did I do that?
Yeah. They're like, oh, it tastes so good. Takes you right back to 1997.
Trying to brush your throat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's good. Good point. See, we're smart,
Yeah, we
responsible
got it.
adults.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tooting our
We
own
adult
horn here
well.
and everything. We are
We're
adults.
adulting.
So number 7, what are the 3 principles of beer and food pairing?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
I'm hungry right now, so
know.
The principles,
We have a
the
donut and beer
principles of the pairing. When I think about pairing, I think about how heavy a beer is and what flavors are
Right.
in it and what
Oh,
it's
man, you were
gonna
like-
bring out.
you guys are right there. I don't
Okay.
think you know the vocabulary of
Yes.
it,
Right.
but you guys are right there. That's
Yeah.
exactly the right answer.
Like the flavor profiles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and like what flavors are in your beer that
That
are
you
going to
wanna-
complement
What you're eating.
Yeah.
So that you guys, like I said, you guys are right there. I would give you credit for that because you
Okay.
guys did very well.
You understand the
Yeah,
idea of it.
for
yeah.
sure.
We
So-
showed we were able to show our work.
Yeah,
Yes.
you did,
we got
yeah,
it.
you did
Yeah,
good.
wrong
You got-
answer, but we showed our work.
You got like
Yeah.
a 0.8, out
Okay.
of out of
Okay.
1 or
All
whatever.
right, all right.
So very good. The 3 principles are to matching intensities. So kind of like what you said, Brandi, and making sure that your beer is not way more intense than the food that you're pairing it with, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want like a molten lava chocolate cake to pair with like Shady Oak, for
Right,
example.
right.
It's not as intense. Now you may pair that with like the Pumpkinator that we were
Okay.
talking about because that's a very intense beer. And same thing if you've got a lighter beer like Shady Oak, you may pair it with like a lighter dish, something like a grilled chicken, or salad even, something along those lines. So matching intensities is the first one. The second one is that you want to, I held up 3 fingers, but I meant 2. The second one is resonance or complementary flavors, meaning same flavor with same flavor.
Right.
So if you have like a toasty beer or a roasty beer, then match that with a food that has like a toasted or a roasted component to it. You want to match those two flavors together. The third part of a beer and food pairing is contrasting flavors.
Okay.
And so you might take something that's, say, a double IPA that's incredibly bitter, and pair it with something like a carrot cake, which is incredibly sweet. And that's a true pairing. I've done that before. I do that in the beer classes that I teach, and it's an awesome pairing. I would have never thought it, but if you grab a great double IPA and match it with a great carrot cake, then H-E-B makes a really great carrot cake. That's a very good way to do it.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Not all pairings will have both matching flavors and contrasting flavors, but if, say, you were doing a multi-course dinner, then you want to, say, have one course that maybe matches and one course that contrasts. And really the point of beer and food pairing is that, 2 + 2 = 5. So the beer is good, the food is good.
He's changed that up. He usually says 1 + 1.
1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think 2 + 2 = 5
He
makes
changed
more
it for y'all's
sense.
podcast.
I changed it for you guys.
That's deep.
Official.
Official,
So it's like it's more than the sum of the parts. So when you put the beer and the food together, it makes both the beer and the food better, and it makes the experience better too.
Yeah.
I've been really interested in that with cheese.
Oh yeah.
So trying to figure that out because I love cheese and I
who
love
doesn't? Yeah.
beer.
Yeah,
so
they go
trying to
together
figure out
really
what
well.
complements because
Which
there's so many
ones?
different
Yeah, absolutely.
styles. Yeah.
There's I find like a lot of the funkier cheeses, like Emmentaler cheese and Gouda and things like that are like funkier, drier. Match those with like Belgian saisons or Belgian blonde ales that are kind of spicy, funky beers anyways.
Oh, that's fun because that's actually, we were talking about on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I had saisons.
Yes.
I had a couple different ones, and I'll have to look back up the names. But, one of them was from Adelbert's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They do a lot of those Belgian beers.
Philosophizer
Yes,
saison.
yes.
Is the
And
one they
then
make.
I had, I love cheese, so of course I had, and I love funky, stinky cheese.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I had that day was those two.
It's a great pairing,
Wow.
and that kind of meets with the intensity. They're similar, and then it also meets with that complementary flavor. But it also kind of gives you contrasting too, because saisons are usually very dry, and they're usually very effervescent. And with those kind of cheeses, you have a lot of kind of rich fattiness in the cheese, and so those things contrast each other as well.
Oh my God, I'm so hungry.
We'll have a food truck here for tonight's
my
party.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, we'll be able to eat.
Starving.
If we can keep this podcast going for 2 more hours, I'll be here.
Starving.
Good. And we can do a whole show. We can do a whole
On
podcast
pairings.
on beer and food pairing.
That
Best
sounds
day of my life.
I'll bring
make,
the cheese.
I'll make
That'd be cool.
chili, and I'll do. We could do a chili pairing. We could pair the
my
cake that I
gosh,
talked about.
yeah.
I have a great like beer and food class that I teach.
Awesome.
And you guys will have to talk to Derek about it afterwards. Because apparently I make legendary chili. It's literally just HEB beans in a crock pot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everybody's like, oh man, this chili's so great.
And
He's
I'm
like, I didn't do anything to it.
I put spices in it. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
That's awesome.
You guys heard of cayenne and paprika?
Yeah,
and
that's it.
cumin? That's what's in there.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
those
you just
are-
bust out Fritos. Everybody's like, wow!
All right. You just throw some
This
cheese
just
on
took it to the
top.
next level.
And a new beer, a Frito beer.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll do a whole show
Yeah,
on that.
let's
That'll be
do it.
fun.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. So we're going to number 8. We're
Okay.
winding
All
it
right,
down.
okay.
Okay.
So number 8, what does dunkel mean?
Oh my gosh, because you mentioned Dunkel on the
Yeah.
episode that you were on with Abby.
Damn it! And I
don't know.
And I know when I know that I like Dunkels and Dunkelweissens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dunkelweissen is a style. yeah.
Okay. Shit.
So what's a characteristic of a Dunkelweissen versus, say, a Hefeweizen? And
dark.
you will. It's dark.
Yes.
So what does dunkel mean?
Dark.
Dark?
Dark.
Dark.
Right?
Well done.
That's all it
Hey.
means. So you'll find like they have like a Munich Dunkel is a dark lager is a style, right? You find Dunkelweissen, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Dunkel by itself is not anything.
No,
so if I
it's
said,
like it's kind of like a description. It'd
Right.
be like like blonde ale,
Yeah.
is kind of the description. If you find like a dunkel that means dark. And there's a lot of these specific kind of words in different languages that now mean things in the beer world because we've inherited all these styles from great places in Europe and in England as well, and Australia and New Zealand and all kinds of great places. So
Nice.
very cool.
Awesome.
Good.
Wow.
You guys knocked that one out of the
Perfect.
park. Well, Brandi knocked it out.
Well, yeah, I was a little slow on the slow on the draw.
All right. So number 9.
Okay.
This is a gimme.
Oh,
Damn it.
You ready for the gimme?
yeah.
Damn it.
It's not a gimme.
Oh, it's not.
No.
What
think
beer
we can get it.
style is typically brewed with coriander and orange peel?
Would that be a... I think it
I
would
have no idea.
Hefeweizen. No.
You're kind of
Close.
close.
Yeah.
It's a wheat beer, so it's very close. Different country.
Okay. Damn.
Don't look at me.
You guys have an overabundance of this during your podcast. Was that a good hint?
Foul mouth? No.
Oh, yeah. That was a good hint.
The
Yeah,
F
it's a
word?
good hint.
Yeah.
The F word? Is
No,
it
the answer is not the
fuckery?
F word.
Are you guys
wit?
witty?
Wit?
Yeah.
Wit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wit!
Right? It's wit. Yes, it is
Oh,
wit. Yeah,
that's very-
Belgian wit beer.
That was
right?
a great
Nice.
compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wit means white beer. It refers to kind of
Okay.
the color, the cloudiness that you get because it's a wheat beer.
Nice.
So,
Foul mouth beer. I'm not sure about that one, but that might be a good one.
and
We
we'll
heard
do-
there's a Foul Mouth brewery opening up.
Yeah, we did hear that.
In Maine.
In Maine.
Ah.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I would say let's do a podcast about wit because there's actually some cool history behind
Yeah, definitely.
the origin of the style wit beer
Cool.
in Central Texas. So
Awesome.
Nice.
got some really cool stuff.
Ooh, I wonder if there is a chapter in the San Antonio Beer Book
Where they talk about
where
it.
they talk about that, and then we could do it in the same month. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have
That'd be
to
cool.
see.
Yeah.
Look for a guy named Pierre Celis.
Okay.
And then Christine Celis is his daughter.
Okay.
And you were talking about Adalbert. She does partnerships with Adalbert's. And now
Oh, wow.
Uncle Billy's in Austin as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like some family legacy there. And that all goes back to the kind of re-emergence of wit beer in Belgium.
Awesome.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll do that. That'll
Very
be a good one.
cool.
Perfect.
Love it.
So number 10 is when I'll have to go prepare something. So do you guys have something you could talk about for a minute while I go prepare something?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Catherine's vagina. We always go back
Oh,
to
yeah.
Catherine's vagina.
Well, maybe
It's just
I'll-
kind of our
Oh,
go-to.
let's stick around.
Yeah. It's our go-to. It's our filler.
Oh, do you want to talk about blackface today or no?
Oh no, I'm
You're
think I'm
good?
good. I think I'm good.
You're not gonna do any of that today.
Nope,
You don't
nope.
need to put any jazz on.
My bad use of terminology. I tried to say that I had blacked out, and I said
She said, I blackface.
Oh.
Now
Did you-
like,
Was it in a
oh.
podcast?
Yep.
Yeah, we went
Yep.
right back to the 1930s.
Did you edit
Yeah.
it?
Nope.
No, we left it in. We
Oh.
always leave that stuff in. Yeah. That was the best part of that day.
That's podcast gold right there.
Yeah, exactly.
We edit very few things out. It's gotta
We
be
really
like
do. And
Yeah.
sometimes I forget that we've said stuff, and then I go back and listen, and I go,
Oh, I didn't mean to say that.
my,
yeah.
my mom's not gonna like that.
yeah. It depends
you-
if we have a ride home. If we have a ride home,
Yeah.
then there's a lot of shit being said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do y'all's parents listen?
My mom comes to the live ones.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
She does not enjoy them, but she enjoys supporting me.
Oh, okay. That's always good.
She doesn't like when I use,
Bad words.
bad words.
Yeah.
but she doesn't listen on a regular basis. No, does your mom listen?
She listens to some of them. She
Oh,
was
okay.
excited because she could. She figured out on her Apple TV how to listen on her TV.
that's cool.
So she thinks
She's like,
I'm
you
a
never
TV star."
call. It's the only way I get to hear your
Yes.
voice.
I find that like the second tier of my family listens a lot. So like my brothers and my cousins and like people that are closer to my age.
Yeah.
The older they get, the less they care about
The
it.
more
But
ashamed
yeah,
they are.
Yeah, the more they don't want to
Yeah.
admit that this
Aunts
is
and
happening,
uncles
or they don't
and-
know what a podcast is.
Yes.
Right.
And
or
it
how to
confuses them.
access it.
It's
or-
confusing.
The
Yeah.
Apple TV thing is smart though. That's really
Yeah.
cool because you can do all kinds of stuff on
Yeah.
Apple TV.
Yeah, and she'll put it on, and she's retired, so she'll just like cook in the kitchen
Yeah.
and do different
listen to it
stuff,
while
and
it's
she
on.
just it just goes throughout the house, and she
Yeah.
can hear me dropping f-bombs like
My mom, because she has no idea
So
what it
proud,
is.
so
is-
proud.
She's like,
yeah,
wipe a
she's,
tear away.
my mom is convinced that I'm a celebrity. Yeah. So like, I have a boyfriend, and she was like, "Are you sure he's not just dating you because you're a celebrity?"
Well, that is a valid concern.
That would suck
Yeah.
for him.
He's like, I'm starting with you, and then
Working my
Jennifer
way up the
Lawrence.
chain.
In between,
Step by step.
First the beer girl, and then I'm gonna make my way
in between
up.
is Otticelli, like the woman that does all the right outside Loop 410. Like he's gonna move
It's
his
gonna
way
be
up.
like the weather
yeah.
girl, and then
yeah.
it'll just keep going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll work his way up.
Good for him.
Good for him.
It's good to have goals.
Yeah.
You know.
So question 10, the preparation is complete, and you guys each have a little glass in front of you. And the question is, what beer style is this?
Oh Lord.
I wanted to serve you guys something that's a
All day.
little, you know what it is?
Yeah.
That's like a spice, like a.
It's close.
No,
yeah.
no, I mean
kinda-
like what I'm smelling
Oh.
is kind of.
What do you smell? What do you smell?
Talk us through it.
Yeah.
It smells barbecuey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is
right?
it a barrel aged? No. Is
Taste it.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite styles.
Yeah, this is really good.
It's
Talk
very
about-
smoky.
Oh, very smoky. That's
Talk about beer and food pairing. This is actually a really good beer and food
Yeah.
pairing.
Like
That
I
is
can taste
fantastic.
brisket when I'm
Yeah.
drinking it.
Yeah.
Like I can
Yeah.
taste the smoke.
I could substitute dinner.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This
You can
this
do that
would
with any
go-
beer, but this would be more of a barbecue style.
Shiner, my first introduction to this style was Shiner made a beer that was this style.
Yeah, it was like a summer.
And I fell in
smokehouse
love
something.
with it. I fell in love with it.
So do you guys have any guesses as to the style? You're hitting the points in the aroma and flavor for sure. You may not have heard of this style before.
I don't know what it is.
I'm at a loss. It's a dark. So for those that can't see the beer, it's a darker beer. It definitely has. It's in the little glasses, but definitely has like a head on it.
Yeah.
Good lacing.
What's lacing?
That's
That's
where
this-
the head kind of leaves the.
Oh, on the
kinda round
side.
foam on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like laced oily or whatever. So you guys want the answer?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Should I
glad
drum roll it?
I'm glad I picked this. This is called a Rauchbier.
Oh.
And so this is the beer that I just served you guys. It's a German beer. Hecht Schlenkerla, I think is how you pronounce it.
They make a whole line of
They make
different
a whole
types
line of different
smoked
wines.
beers, which are really
And so
good.
today we're drinking their Marzen, which is a style that's an Oktoberfest type style.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rauchbier actually means smoked beer.
Oh.
And so it originates from Bamberg, Germany, and it's a smoked beer style that's brewed with typically peat smoked malt.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Not that I've known that have I had a Rauch beer. This is really good.
It is
Well, and
really
the smoke is very prominent on the aroma and the flavor, and like Kat said, it tastes like brisket. A lot of times people will say, "Man, it smells like applewood smoked bacon," or something like that. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it
Yeah.
on the back end, and really the prominent flavor is the smoke. But if you look for it, you've got this caramelly sweetness behind it as well
Yeah.
that pairs really well with it.
The smoke really, you can taste it in the aftertaste, like
Mm-hmm.
after
Yeah,
the
like
end.
lingers on
yeah.
there for a while.
Very
yeah.
really unique style.
Yeah, it's a nice beer,
Wow.
and it's and you can get a whole line of different ones. They make a wheat beer that's smoked and everything from this brewery, and so and it's available at like the specialty grocery stores that carry the craft beer stuff, typically in like a German section.
Wow.
I fell in love with the style, and before Paul became head brewer, our old brewer, we made during October, we made like a pumpkin version of a smoked beer. And I loved it. I think it came out great. But we called it Pumpkin Hatch, so people assumed that it was going to be like a big, boozy kind of pumpkin-y
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
And it tasted like smoke, so it was an epic Branchline fail. To style, it came out really good.
Yeah.
And I think people just weren't expecting it to be smoky. So
smoky.
it had pumpkin, hatch chilies, and it was a smoked beer.
That is a
really
whole
neat, kind of cool.
A whole kind of thing is naming the beer too.
Yeah.
It's so important because you have an idea already before you drink it, kind of what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our first lesson of
Marketing, really.
yeah, pairing, the name with the beer and making sure people
Wow.
understand what it is.
Right.
So maybe we'll do it again sometime, but call it something
Some
else.
call it something
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
That's really good. So, where did you get this, Paul?
I think I got that from Specs.
From
Oh,
Specs.
specs. Okay.
Nice. I might go back there.
And
My
get
husband
some
will
more?
really like this. It also makes me, when we're talking about food pairings, it makes me want like a sharp New York cheddar cheese
Oh man,
with it.
yeah.
Ooh.
Pair this with the cheese. Actually.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that is really
Sorry, I know
good.
I'm not on the microphone right
No, you're good.
And again, that cheese also would go good with like barbecue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the beer would go well with.
Yeah, I when I pair this one, I usually pair it with like a cheese, because that smokiness with the cheese is awesome. And they
Yeah.
make smoked cheddar cheeses.
Yeah,
and
they do. Yeah,
that
yeah,
real
yeah.
sharp, contrast
really
with
good with
the
it.
sweetness of this beer does really well.
So
Delicious.
I think did we earn our beginner's badge today?
I think
fan-
beginner's badge.
like a
Yeah,
fan
yeah, I think
badge?
this is like a participation ribbon.
Yes,
type
Okay.
day.
I
All
think
right.
so.
I think that's
Yeah.
good.
I think
That's
so.
fine.
No, you guys actually. The cool thing is that even though like when you didn't know the exact answer, like with the beer and food pairing or with the cleaning glassware, if you didn't know the exact answer, you guys had a general idea of it. And that's kind of the point of getting into craft beer and getting into learning more about beer and beer service is that you build this foundation of understanding of things. You're not going to learn everything overnight. And so, you're not intimidated by it. You guys are jumping in with both feet and you're learning this stuff.
Yeah.
I would absolutely encourage anybody that sees that, that's inspired by that to do the same.
Yeah.
I think that that's a really good point to make because I think that some people are a little bit intimidated by craft beer because it's like
Yeah, it is
wine.
intimidating.
Like I don't drink
Yeah.
wine because I go to a place I don't know how to order wine.
Yep.
I don't know how to smell
And
it.
I don't,
Yeah.
and it gives me a headache, so I don't drink it. But it's intimidating, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. It can
if
be,
I
yeah.
wouldn't go to a winery and be like, oh, hey, give me like whatever, So I think that people just need to realize that it's more approachable than
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
Not
Then
as,
some
it's not
people
as
make
snobby
it-
as all that.
yeah.
And yeah, trying to avoid the people that are snobby.
Yeah.
If a bartender's snobby to you about your beer order, don't go to that fucking place.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
like, why would you have to deal with that? Go and
Yeah.
enjoy a beer the way you want to enjoy it.
right.
Not with a slice of lime and salt in it necessarily, but
Yeah.
Right.
enjoy it
Yeah.
and learn about it.
Yeah. Right.
There's like an unspoken rule in craft beer, and the rule is don't be a dick, and that's pretty much all there is to it.
Yeah.
That's a good rule.
Most people remember that rule.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're in good company.
Most people.
Yeah.
Most people.
We haven't really run into that many like.
No, but I think it's because we're very open about not having the
knowing.
knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that that's probably maybe annoying to people when, like, if I had all this knowledge and then somebody comes in and they act like they have the knowledge,
That's
Yeah.
true.
that has to be
Yeah.
a little annoying. Like,
Yeah,
you're
right.
trying,
Yeah.
instead of just being yourself and
Right.
saying what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean that's anything. I
Yeah.
think if somebody came into a mechanic and started talking trash about how much he knew about cars, the mechanic would
Yeah.
probably roll his eyes a little bit,
Right.
and be annoyed. But
Right.
he'd still fix the guy's damn car,
Right.
Right.
He wouldn't be a jerk about it.
He'd go
Yeah.
home and talk about him at the end
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
night. Like,
Yeah.
And maybe people are talking trash about you guys behind your backs, but
oh, we
That's
know
all right.
they are.
Well, they
Oh.
talk
Yeah.
trash about us on our
on your page,
on our
or
Yeah,
rating
yeah, yeah,
reviews.
Golly.
well, that's
People
all right.
can be brutal.
We're comfortable with it.
And we're fine with it.
Yeah.
Well, the internet is anonymous.
Yeah.
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 So don't
So
don't
they
be
think.
yeah, don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
Brandy's undercover.
Set up a fake Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate them too. Let's meet up.
Yeah.
And then you take
Fuck
a
those
crowbar
bitches.
to their
You're right.
knees.
Yeah.
You're right. They do hate women.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe that they hate women.
It's time for Beer News.
Hey there, folks. Time for your brew news with the Brew Dude. I'm just going to catch you up on a couple of things around the industry. Going to start off by saying that this week was my birthday. It was actually yesterday, and we raged a little hard last night, so I am feeling the pain today. A little bit too many beers. On that note, North Korea is claiming that they have now invented a brand new type of hard alcohol that will not give you a hangover no matter how much you drink. They are saying that it is made out of burnt rice and ginseng, and that they are the ones that have created the hangover-free alcohol. Congratulations. I don't believe it because North Korea is crazy, but we'll see. Also, there's a company called Hecht Cup that makes the red plastic cups that we all use to play all the beer pong with. They call it Hecht Cup because the cups are in the shape of a hexagon instead of a circle. So when you create your beer pong games, they fit exactly perfectly up against each other. Check it out. It's kind of hard to explain. I think I nailed it. All right, that's it. I'm going to go back to sleep. Cheers to the beers. Once again, this is your news with the Brew Dude. You can find me online at thebrewdude.com. Back to you, ladies. Boom.
Well, I I poured you guys a treat
Yay!
for doing so well on your quiz.
Oh, nice.
And we get to we'll try them all.
Okay.
In very pretty glasses.
These are our new glasses, so we'll by the time this is on the web, it'll be too late. But today is the first day of our 2-day anniversary party that we're doing over the weekend.
Right.
And so what we're going to try next is going to be our 3rd anniversary.
Okay.
Now for our 3rd anniversary, we did 3 beers for 3 years. So we've got 3 beers here for you guys to try. And I poured them in their respective glasses.
Awesome.
Proper glassware for it, I would say.
Paul asked me if we were going to continue the X years for X beers. And I was like, what if we hit like 20 beers for 20 years is going to be kind of tough.
That's a rough year.
That's a rough year, yeah.
That's all we'll make all year. It's just 20 beers for 20 years.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 beers for 3 years, I think matches really well, with what we're trying to do. And we wanted to do something special to reward the public here that, enjoys our stuff and is loyal to us. And so what we did is we brewed a Belgian triple. And then did 2 variants of that Belgian triple for the other 2 beers.
Nice.
And so the one here in the blue glass is the standard Belgian triple.
Okay.
And then our second one here in the red glass is our cherry triple.
Okay.
Which we brewed with sour cherries.
Oh, I saw the pictures on that one.
Yeah. And the cherries look gross, but it's because all the flavor went into the beer.
Yes.
Cherries look like refried beans.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. But you could tell that one's like even a little hazier because we had the fruit in it, right? And that may clear out, in the bottle a little bit. And then the third one here in the tan colored glass is our oak aged triple, which we aged on Hungarian medium toasted oak.
Wow.
And same thing, the oak looked really gross afterwards, but
Yeah.
all that flavor went into the beer. So I poured the 3 so we can kind of compare them side by side and try them out. So
You
you guys can give us
Yeah.
kind of a beer tasting and
go
a
first?
critique and everything.
Sure. This is really fun because I just kind of started exploring more with triples. That's kind of
cool.
been my thing because one of my first ones that I loved, but I didn't know that it was a triple, was Devil's Backbone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very good beer.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
beer.
And we'll release this in both draft and package, and so this will be in the 750 milliliter bottles. The labels you guys may have seen online, but the labels are right there on on the jars there, and we'll have those out in the next couple of weeks. They'll be on the shelf, so you'll be able to find them.
That is really good.
The triple is a style, for people that don't know, is a pale colored, kind of stronger Belgian ale. So you usually get a lot of fruity and spicy notes out
I
of
can
it.
really taste the fruit. It's so smooth and like
Velvety kind of sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's a little bit more full bodied.
Yeah.
These than like a typical, I guess. Whatever if a triple is kind of what were you saying, kind of version of a Belgian ale? Just
kind
higher,
of
does
a
it
pale,
have higher,
strong,
and
higher
higher
alcohol,
ABVs and all.
And what we did, and what a lot of Belgian brewers do, is they brew it with some sort of sugar in order to lighten the body a little bit and make it a little more drinkable. And so what we did is we brewed it with a Belgian candy syrup. It's like a pale candy syrup. It's called Simplicity, and that gives it some complexity in the flavor, and it dries it out a little bit, makes it very drinkable. It's a little dangerous. It actually came back at 8.7 ABV, and so it's like a stronger ale. A lot of triples sit around that 9% range.
Okay.
This is also
I smelled
something.
banana.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Actually,
Yeast
banana.
from the
My wife
yeast.
smelled
Yeah.
banana.
Yeah, she did.
The
That's
yeast
right.
gives you a lot of banana type aroma out of it.
Interesting.
That was the first thing she said.
Yep, that was the first thing she said. That was really cool.
High five.
Awesome.
Good job.
Yes.
So good. Yeah, very good. So you guys want to move on and try the second one then?
Yeah.
Ready for the
Different.
cherry?
Yeah.
Yeah, try it out.
Oh, yeah, because we saw, and I noticed that Christina Hobbins from Ranger Creek commented on the picture and said it looked like the cherries afterwards look like Taco Bell the next day.
Yeah. That was pretty. And then she's like, she actually tagged her husband in it, and he said, "You're gross."
You're
And then
good.
she said, why did I do that? Why did I say that?
Why did I say that? Yeah, it was pretty funny, but it was true.
She said what everybody was thinking.
Oh, my gosh.
That's kind of a neat one because you get kind of the sour cherries with the sweetness of the triple.
These glasses are really
Yeah.
cool because it has like a fill line.
Yeah,
right?
10-ounce
Yep.
line.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we put a
Nice.
10-ounce line on there, because it is a stronger beer. And this is the glass that we're going to be serving and giving away for people this weekend at our anniversary party.
So I saw online that it said the first 200 people.
Yes.
Per session.
So per session.
Per
okay.
session, yeah, per session. And then we have a different color for each session. And so the
Oh,
Friday
awesome.
session, we're doing the tan one. And then tomorrow morning, the cask session that we're doing, we're going to do the red one. And then for the evening session, which is typically our busiest one, we're going to be giving away those
Awesome.
blue ones. So.
Perfect.
And then
What's your
we'll have
favorite
them
color?
first. Yeah.
Yeah, I want the blue one.
The blue's my
I'll be
favorite.
here on Saturday.
The blue's my favorite too.
You
Saturday
can
night.
you can actually you can taste that it's real fruit. You
Yeah.
know the difference of taste with some beers where you
It's
can
like an
taste like it's
extract.
a
Right,
extract
absolutely.
or
Yeah.
flavoring or you can actually taste that it's real fruit in there.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I kind of the aroma and flavor. I would totally agree with that. It's not like cherry cough syrup. It's like actual eating cherries out of the bag.
Yes. So does the ABV change when you add so you have something different in here? So is it the same or is it different?
It's the same across the board because we made the recipe so that it was the same
Okay.
across the board. The cherries add a little bit more sugar, and so it
Right.
ferments out a little
Yeah.
bit more. And when we tested the three, they all came back within that 8.7 range. We have like a legal range that we can be in. So they all came within that.
you have a
range.
legal range generally or for the style?
For any beer, we have a range of 0.3 plus or minus.
That we can put on the label,
Yeah,
basically,
that we
I see.
or
Okay.
advertise it as.
I see.
Yeah.
So if the beer comes back and say a beer is tested at 5.0, you can put 5.3 on the label or 4.7 on the label,
gotcha.
whatever you want to do.
However you want to market it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
That was very good.
Real nice,
Yeah.
like sour kind of finish and everything.
Yeah.
But not a sour beer. You know, I still get a lot of the sweetness from the cherries. And you guys are actually like our inaugural tasting.
Yeah,
tasting.
yeah. I think
Oh,
most has
that's
had
awesome.
it. Yeah, except for
Nice.
us. Yeah.
Oh, very special. That is really good.
I think the cherry's
taste-
my favorite of the three.
It's really good.
It's kind of a neat sour and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
And I feel like I haven't tasted a triple like that.
We talked about doing potentially one with blueberries too, because the blueberry stain, so the beer would be very, very blue.
Yeah,
It'd be
that's
kind of neat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we might play with that a
Yeah.
little bit, like in a different series or a draft release or something like
Yeah.
that.
Makes me
That's
think
cool.
of Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if you drink enough, you'll blow up like a blueberry.
Yes. That's my
True.
goal every Friday
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Just
So
to get
the-
as bloated as
Yes.
possible.
The third one here is the oak aged triple, like I mentioned. So that we ordered a Hungarian medium toasted oak in cubes. And so the cubes are real small, about like 1 centimeter cube, and they have a lot of surface area. And so we put them in like bags in the fermenter and let it age on that oak instead of putting it in a barrel. Mm-hmm. Pardon me.
You're pardoned.
Well,
Oh, well,
I take back the
there's
burping.
your
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. He did burp. Oh.
My bad. I should have done it right into the mic. But yeah, the doing it that way means that it can stay on the oak for less time, as opposed to having to put it in a barrel for a long period of time to get that character. We can get the wood character out of it in a shorter period of time. And so this sat on the wood for about like 2 weeks, 15 days, something
Yeah,
like that.
around there.
And it's got the amount of wood character that we'd like in it. So go for it.
It's neat as we can kind of test it through the life of it in that fermenter, and when we think it's done, then we can pull it off and carbonate it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it
yeah.
went from being...
You can smell that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think more so in the nose than the flavor, but the flavor gives you kind of a dry, toasty aftertaste, I feel like.
Wow.
So with the three, we kind of
yeah.
have like a sweet, a tart, and like a dry.
That is so interesting to do this because we've never done this before where you take kind of the same style of
And
beer and see what you
Do
can
like
do with
different
it.
things with it. Yeah.
I can kind of taste banana in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
wife
yeah.
actually picked a lot of banana out of that one. It
That's-
was like
yeah.
more prominent in that one than in the other ones. That's a yeast character, so that comes from the yeast.
Interesting.
It smells almost like if you take the bung off of a fresh barrel and smell inside of a barrel, it's
Wait.
got that very
What,
woody.
did you
Take
say
the-
bung?
Yeah, bung. Is that not okay?
Is that like Beavis and no bung
yeah,
hole?
it's that kind of bung. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does a
it's
bung have a bung
The
hole?
bung has
Yeah,
a
there
bung
is a
hole,
bung
yes.
hole.
Yeah.
You put your nose deep in the bung hole.
Oh my god.
Take a big sniff.
And that's what this beer smells like.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody's gonna buy it.
Oh, wait. We're not helping. We're not helping it.
Somebody will
You
buy
could just name it bunghole.
Yeah.
One guy comes to the store. He's like, "Do you have any more?"
I'll take that bunghole beer.
Without that, yeah.
Yeah,
You cannot live without that. Someone
any
will
more
buy
bunghole?
everything. Yeah.
So which one did you guys like the most?
So my favorite was the first one.
Just a regular. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really was.
My favorite, God, it's honestly between these two, the bunghole And I think the bunghole.
Yeah, please don't call it that.
The bunghole and the refried beans.
Oh, see, it's got a good, it's got an oaky taste to it, but it's not like, a lot of times you find like the barrel-aged imperial stouts, right? They taste like whiskey. You know, they don't taste like the wood because they're aged in whiskey barrels or whatever.
It can be overwhelming.
This one tastes like taking a piece of bark and like putting it in your mouth.
Yes.
Like in a pleasant way, though.
It reminds me of like, this sounds so silly. It reminds me of being like in a dance hall where there's sawdust.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
I can
kind
see
of
that.
It's kind of like a fresh, kind of pleasant wood type of
yeah,
smell.
like a fresh cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's neat because a lot of people will do year after year verticals of different beers, like Pumpkinator we were talking about a little earlier. This allows you to kind of have the same beer and do a vertical taste of all threes, and they'll be released on the shelf, hopefully next to each other, so you can purchase all three at one time.
So when you say
try
year
it.
after year
That's
vertical,
fun.
you mean tasting the same beer but different
Yeah,
years or
like,
ages of it? Yeah.
2014, 2015, 2016. Or,
Yeah.
so.
This is really fun for people, especially if you're just kind of like getting into beer. Well, even if you are already into beer.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to taste what you can do with each.
Yeah.
We
definitely.
really like doing this. We won't do this every year, but this is a cool thing to do for 3 years.
Yeah.
And last year's beer we did for the second anniversary was a Belgian-style Imperial Rye IPA, which we also loved. It just turned out great, and it was an awesome beer, and it's aging very well. You know, we still have bottles, here, and we're actually going to be serving like a year-old keg of it
Nice.
for this weekend that we've cellared, and so it's the kind of big beers that you can hang on to for a long time.
Yeah.
And, we could be drinking the same third anniversary beer next year for the fourth anniversary and for the fifth anniversary, and the beer gets more complex and changes over time.
So how do you like your think tank work? Like you guys sit? Is
It's
it the two of
us,
you?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sit
yeah.
down and just.
Well, and our brewery, we don't have a lot of employees. It's just Jason is the owner, and I'm the head brewer.
Right.
And we have Derek is a cellarman, and we have a couple of part timers. And typically, if we're trying to come up with ideas or we're doing things, we all talk about it, and we brainstorm with each other. I come up with the recipes and everything, and kind of figure out the raw materials, and we do all of that. Jason pays for it all, and then drinks
Have the fun
majority
job.
of it.
Yeah. I drink it to drown my sorrows of the cost of the goods.
But we're kind of all three involved. Derek has a lot of experience in beer, and he has a lot of great insight in the market, and
Right.
and kind of our media and how we advertise things.
Yeah.
And so we try to make things fun for us, and then that hopefully translates to others as well.
Yeah.
Talking about new beers
That's
is always a lot of fun because we have the same year rounds and we have the same seasonals every year. So whenever we get a chance to do a one-off or an anniversary beer, it really gives us like a chance to flex our
Do something fun.
Be
our
creative,
beer
yeah.
muscles. Yeah.
Nice.
We released I think I counted it, and we released like 9 new beers last year, either in draft or on the shelf.
Yeah.
Which is big for a small brewery like us. It's hard to do that kind of thing and be successful at it, and so we're pretty proud of that. And we did some new stuff this year we introduced 3 new year-round beers. The Visitor IPA, Dark Territory Oatmeal Stout, and Silver and Black IPA, which is like available at the AT&T Center.
Right.
All the places do that.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's doing very, very well for us.
happy with
Yeah.
that.
I think that's really interesting because on our very first episode, do you remember Spurs Jesus saying,
we
"Can
need
we
some
get
craft
Ranger Creek at?"
Yes.
Because we had Ranger Creek on the show, and they were like,
Just
and they were like,
We love
"We're
those guys."
We're a small brewery, guys. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. And then here we are, like not even
Boom.
6 months later.
What's
and
cool
it's
about
happened.
Branchline and us is we never turn down an opportunity. We're always asking. You can't, you don't get those opportunities unless you ask for them.
Yeah.
And if somebody says no, then they say no. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try the saying that I usually scream at everybody from the top of the brew platform out there is you've got to have yes in your heart. You've got to. We're trying to accomplish
Yeah.
something.
Right.
You've got to have yes inside
I think
of
it's
you.
amazing. I was at Earl Abel's the other day, and I was like, they have craft beer here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've got our labels.
Are we-
We've got beer at our
oh, do we?
labels.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can be a senior citizen and still drink craft
Yeah.
beer.
When it gets in Lubies, then we'll be man. I
Then
know we
we'll
made
get
it.
it.
I know we
Yeah.
made it when it
Yeah.
hit Lubies.
Yeah.
I
can't wait.
I tell everybody this because it's my goal. Somebody's got to get some craft beer
And
inside the Magic Time Machine.
I know. We
Oh,
told
yeah.
everybody.
They have the Blind Tiger Comedy Club,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you cannot get craft beer there.
Why?
They
They just
They
don't
sell
sell.
into
They
it?
sell
Carry
Lone
it?
Star in cans,
Yeah.
and And then they sell some stuff out of the tap
that
kind of tastes like it's been there
For a long time.
I'm a little scared, but I'll go into the Magic Time Machine and ask them about craft beer.
I feel
Don't go to the bathroom there, I've
Don't you
heard.
feel
No,
like they
yeah.
could just redo that
Don't
whole...
announce it.
Don't announce it,
Yeah.
yeah.
They
yeah.
could redo that whole thing and it would be amazing.
I know.
Shout out Magic Time Machine.
Shout
Do
out.
me a favor, because
Yeah,
my
it
kids
seems like
love
a
to
cool
go
spot.
there, and
Yeah.
I hate to go there. I think it smells weird.
But
It
if I
feels-
had some good
it's
beer
180
there, I
years
wouldn't give a
old.
shit.
Yeah,
Like if
get a
they
little
would just
slosh
remodel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do a little remodel and bring in some good
Yeah,
beer.
some remodel. Yeah, I think that would be
that's all they
great.
need,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little remodel.
Yeah.
Or just
Some Lysol
the
wipes.
beer. I don't care. Just leave
just wants the
everything.
beer.
Just
up.
have the beer there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He
the
and
beer.
I, over the next couple weeks, before you guys come back again, we'll go to the Magic Time Machine.
We'll have an update for you.
26th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna head over there and we'll pop in and we'll try to like see if we can
Sell
find the
them some-
manager or the owner or something.
Yeah.
Because we were saying like even cans, because you already
Yeah.
sell
Oh, yeah,
I
for
know.
sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
perfect.
It's such
I
an
think-
easy sell to
I think
places
like,
as cans.
like the Shady cans, you know,
Yes.
raw cans or whatever. I think
There's
that'd
no commitment with it. It doesn't take up a draft line. You buy one case, but it
I'm
doesn't
assuming
sell.
it's a
Yeah.
situation where like, wow, Bob's been coming here for 35 years.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah.
only drink the Lone Star out
Yes.
of the can. I
Right,
don't know.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
if we can get craft beer in there, I think we can do like some fun things for She's Crafty
Definitely.
podcast
Yeah.
and
We
do
could record
specials.
there. We'll do
and-
it. We
Yeah,
could do a
because they have the
Branchline
Blind
thing there,
Tiger.
yeah.
Yeah, they have the Blind
Yeah.
Tiger Comedy Club
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah, that'd be a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect
That's the other
pairing
thing
if
is
they
you walk in
just-
there. The first time I walked in there to see a comedy show, and like you walk in, and I was like,
You're
How
like,
many
is this
blind
the-
tigers were in there?
I'm looking for the comedy club.
4 or 5.
4 or 5
yeah.
blind tigers?
Yeah.
Cool.
Not dangerous.
That's not scary
level.
because
Yeah.
they're blind, so it
Yeah.
don't matter.
They're
They're
Yeah.
like, oh, you
they're
gotta go, you gotta
geriatric.
open that door
Yeah.
and go down those stairs, and we were like,
You're like, I don't want to do that.
Like, I should have brought
The door shuts
How
behind
old
you.
is this
Like, that was
building?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have your life alert
Yeah.
bracelet.
Yeah.
somebody
Exactly.
locks you in there, they'll know where you are.
Yeah,
That's sad.
that's all
Well,
right.
we'll
We're gonna
try.
make it. We're gonna make it better.
We'll try.
think
Ask
so.
us.
Yeah, we'll go.
ask
want it
us.
to
We'll
be
go over there
awesome.
and check it out.
Yeah.
We'll try. You know.
Go team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll try.
All right. Well, before my mind is about to explode with all the knowledge that we have had
It's been
today.
the best day ever.
And this is really motivating because I think we started and we were kind of like pedaling to keep up because when you start a podcast, when you start anything, you know, when you start a business, you're just like trying to do this and do that and keep up. And I think
Yeah.
we've gotten to the point where we have this knowledge that we've been exposed to.
Right.
And we have the ability to study it.
right.
Yeah.
To go over it. And I think this is really motivating.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love every minute of it.
Me too.
It's a big part of it.
Cue the sappy music.
Oh.
Are we? Are we gonna cry our way out of here?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
We're used to
Paul
We
has a
still have,
little.
like-
Paul has a little homework for us, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys some homework. I
Alright,
thought
we're
of something
down.
that I think you'll have fun with.
Okay.
That'll be
Okay.
really cool. That we'll talk about next month. So,
Perfect.
What I'd like you guys both to do is I would like you
Catherine's
to
writing
to.
this down just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not
It's
as
important.
complicated
It is
as
But
it
important.
is.
write it down anyway.
So I would like you guys to go visit the website for
Mm-hmm.
the Beer Judge Certification Program.
Ooh,
Just
okay.
write down BJCP.
you want me to go to the BJ website?
BJ, no, don't do
Is
that.
that Pornhub?
Don't go to Google and
You
type
porn-
in BJ.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's
Yeah.
bjcp.org is the
Okay.
website. And basically what they do is they create style guidelines for
Okay.
beer. And they've just released a new guideline a few months ago for 2015. Last time it was redone was 2008.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Okay.
It basically lays out all the styles that you can find that are out there.
Okay.
Perfect.
And what I would like each of you guys to do over the next month is find 3 beers, and you can do this separately or you can do this together. Find 3 beers that meet those BJCP guidelines, and I'd like you to come back with a review of those 3 beers.
All right.
What style were they, whether or not they met the guidelines, and why.
Nice.
Okay,
All right,
so what
perfect.
style? Why they met the guy?
Whether they met
We're
the
recording
guidelines.
this. Kat, we're recording this.
Oh, is this a show?
Oh, wait a minute.
You can listen
You
back.
can listen to it
I
later.
just want
You
to
don't-
win.
Are you going to be able to read that later?
All I see is bj.org.
Work on your BJs. Done.
And then you're like, it was a tough month.
Yeah.
But I
guys,
think I did it.
I have lockjaw, but I lost a lot of weight. And that's all that matters.
Your boyfriend's going to listen to this podcast and
He's
be like,
like, yeah.
High
Awesome.
five, you guys.
Yeah.
If a random guy comes in and gives me a hug while I'm working,
We'll know who it is.
I'd be like,
Do you
oh,
Best
know
love of my
Catherine?
life,
Yeah,
man.
right.
good to meet you.
Now
Like,
I
what are
need
you giving
to.
them next
I know.
month?
Can you
man?
up the
What are you giving
ante?
them next month?
But now I really want to
Catherine
know.
always brushing her teeth.
Tweezers. I need to know now if there's a BJ.org. That sounds like a very fancy BJ.
Well,
site.
it sounds like a
Is there
nonprofit
a
that
dot gov?
non-profit
helps
BJ.
people to.
Yeah.
I think it would be like unintentionally funny. Like it
Right.
would be,
Yes.
BJ would stand for probably something like, I don't know, it'd be like,
BostonJoggers.org.
yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
what it
yeah,
is.
That's
yeah.
I couldn't think of one
Yeah.
fast enough, but
Yeah.
yeah, and it would be. Are you going to the website right now?
I'm trying to find BJ.org. Yeah. Oh,
Can you buy the domain?
I see Martin Luther King.
Oh, see what I told you.
Wait a
What I
minute,
tell
wait a
you?
minute.
What I tell you?
He's a Boston jogger?
Oh, this is like a.
Oh, it's spiritual. It says,
But it's in
Community-
another language.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I think you just registered to be an ISIS.
Oh, wow. Great.
That was easier than I thought it was going to be.
magazine.
No wonder they recruit so easily.
Yeah. They didn't accept my first application.
Nice.
Yes, right here you can join BJ.
BJ,
Yes.
BJ Early Childhood and Parenting Center.
I can't say that I endorse this website. I don't even. I can't even.
No, I
see
don't know
it.
what this is.
I
don't
feel
know.
like I'd have a better time at bj.biz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Probably. Yeah,
BJ.co.
Figure out a
Yeah.
way to monetize that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about our homework.
too.
I love homework that involves beer, especially.
Me too.
Yeah. And
Awesome. Do you guys have anything that you want to talk about before we close it out? Do you have coming up?
Yeah, this podcast will come out. We do have a beer dinner that's coming up on the January 26th at La Fruteria. You can purchase tickets directly through the restaurant.
Awesome. And that is on.
It's on like South
Flores?
Flores,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
near kind of close to like the Blue Star
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
It's kind of near there. Really cool restaurant.
Great food.
They have delicious
Great food,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
just added us on as the first craft beer, like the first local craft beer.
Oh,
that they've carried.
nice.
So they right now carry our Dark Territory oatmeal
Okay.
stout on draft.
Very cool.
And they carry basically it's Dark Territory and it's Santo from St. Arnold, and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
couple of Mexican lagers.
Okay.
Four taps, and we got one of them, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
we got one of
Nice.
the 4 taps. So really cool place. We like their food a lot, and we're gonna do like a 4-course beer dinner with them.
Do you know
Very
where we
exciting.
could get tickets for that or how to find out more
It's on
information?
the Fruteria website.
Okay.
Is how they're selling it, and their Facebook. There's a link for it as well.
Okay.
We'll create an event on our social media
Okay.
once the anniversary is over.
Link it up.
Because we've been pushing so
Yeah.
hard on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
First of next week, we'll have that
Okay,
up.
perfect.
So
So by the time
By
this
the time the
podcast
podcast
comes out,
comes out,
there'll
yeah.
be a link.
we'll
Okay,
have it on
perfect.
there.
Great,
So
perfect.
that'd be fun. Cool beer dinner. It's their first beer dinner. So
Nice.
Should be really nice.
Something else we've been looking forward to since I've started the brewery was adding additional beers in a can. So we'll have 3 additional beers to launch.
You guys
first
drank
of
one?
February. Yeah, first
Nice.
one.
Yeah, the
Shady
Shady
Oak.
Yes.
The other 2 being Dark Territory and Woodcutter, which is our rye IPA.
Awesome. And we'll be
Very
able to
nice.
get those anywhere that we can get
Yeah,
Branchline beer.
pretty much anywhere you get Evil Owl, you'll be able to find those as
Okay,
well. So.
Great.
Perfect.
And those are launching February 1st, and they're going to be in like all the core HEBs in town. They'll be in places like Specs and
Whole Foods,
and
Central Market, yeah.
all the kind of smaller liquor stores, as well. And then if you are interested in having that beer at your favorite bar, let them know. 'Cause
Yes.
it's available.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Well, I feel like we learned a lot today.
I feel smarter.
I feel, I have bad self-esteem issues, so I don't feel smarter, but
You guys both look smarter though.
You do,
Wow.
thank
definitely.
you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what matters.
He said we got uglier. Is what he said. Just in the hour that we've been here.
Beer has the opposite effect.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's opposite beer goggle.
Real quick before we close out, this reminds me of a story.
Oh,
you
let's
guys.
tell it.
It reminds me of a story of my 6-year-old daughter, and she was making a video to put on YouTube.
Right.
Because she wanted to
Be a
put a video on
YouTube star.
YouTube. She wanted to get rich.
Right.
She said.
Oh,
Right.
That's
So-
the way to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
Definitely.
watched this video later, and she said, "Question of the day: would you rather be pretty or smart?"
Oh gosh. What did she say?
This did not go on YouTube. And then she goes, "I know this question's confusing because I'm both pretty and smart."
I love that. My daughter, she has high functioning autism, but she's like very literal about everything. And one time I told her that she was the most beautiful girl in the world. And so she honestly believes it. So she gets pissed if anybody tells her different. So she told her teacher one day, "I'm the most beautiful girl in the world," right? And her teacher was like, "Wow, we're all beautiful." And she was like, "No.
No, I'm the most
said that I'm
beautiful girl in
These
the
are
world."
facts. Yeah. We got a little note home.
You need to
And
make
now-
make a badge.
yeah.
Now it's on the internet.
Now
So
it's on
true.
the internet, so it's
It
true.
is.
That's
Or when the
right.
teacher just say, yes,
Yes,
you are.
of course you
Yeah,
are.
I know. They
Yeah.
gotta be an
Yeah,
asshole
she was mad.
about
She
it.
came home. She was like, she said I wasn't the most beautiful, but you already said that I was. And I was like, no, you definitely are.
You are.
And
Yeah.
so is
She's
your
jealous.
sister, but we're not going to tell your sister.
Yeah, she doesn't need to know.
Your teacher must be super jealous.
She's really ugly.
Yeah,
Teacher.
yeah.
Your
That's
teacher
why.
sounds
That's
really
why.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not a smart lady.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank you,
it.
Jason. Thank you, Paul. We had a great time. We learned so much, and we're looking forward to our homework. And
We'll be
Beer
back
Nuts,
next month.
do it with us.
That's right. Go to the She's Crafty Beer Nuts Facebook page, and you can learn all about what we have coming up in future episodes. You can download the She's Crafty podcast on iTunes and the Tasty Podcast Network at shescraftypodcast.com, and now on Stitcher. Make sure to go rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Find us on Instagram at She's Crafty Pod. Find us on Twitter at She's Crafty Pod. Find us on Facebook at She's Crafty Podcast. Buy our merchandise at shescraftypodcast.com. We have t-shirts and koozies. Find us on Google Plus when you have nothing else to do.
I told you to give that up.
I can't.
I know.
I'm holding on. It's
An addiction.
It's a real thing.
I'm waiting
It's
for
a
Google
thing.
Plus to blow up.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
will.
I'm waiting
It
for.
will.
It'll happen.
We often
It's on the
say-
fringes.
We often say that Google Plus is like yelling into a cave and nobody yells back at you. And you're like, hello, is anybody in there? And one person says yes. It's me, Josh from Interbrews. I'm watching.
Google's awesome, right? Google Plus is awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's so much better with circles, guys.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I feel like that with LinkedIn, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
always get
God.
messages on LinkedIn. I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
What is this? Why are
LinkedIn's
you
pretty rough.
validating my skill set? Who are you?
Yeah.
I have no idea
So
who
and
you
so
are.
from Shanghai trying to sell me parts. For
Yeah,
a
yeah.
shirt that I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck Shanghai.
Yeah.
All right, beer nuts. Hope we don't have any beer nuts in Shanghai. If not, you have better things to do with yourself. Beer nuts. We will see you next week because it is 2016 and we have a new episode every
week.
Friday. So
That's right.
we will see all of you next.
Peace out, beer nuts.
Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.